segments that would make up my potential front. Make sure every edge is selected so you have a fully closed shape and that all of the corners are fully intersecting and everything is fully closed. Once that's all selected, you can right-click on any of those selected segments and choose Trace as Pattern. That's going to pull out a front panel. Then I'll go back in with the same tool and select all of the areas that make up my back panel and trace that as a pattern. Now I'm going to take my patterns and shift them around my 2D window. The back piece, I am going to flip this horizontally. Both of these pieces are going to be my wearer's left side of the garment. And to quickly clean up these lines, I will use the Lock All Pattern Outlines, Selection, and then Unlock. And really the draft, I'm going to delete this. You can keep this if you want to. If you want to keep it, take it and put it somewhere over here. And then go into your 3D window and hit Reset 2D Arrangement. I'm going to go to my selection tool. You can deactivate this draft if you want to keep it but not really deal with it. Make sure you deactivate it after you've reset this. If you deactivate it first, this piece won't be affected. And then I can turn Show Avatar Measurements off and turn Show Arrangement Points on. Before I arrange my pieces, I am immediately going to make my symmetrically linked copy and place that down. So then I can select all of them, just kind of push them out of the way. They're blocking the arrangement points. And then place the front panel here and the back panels here. It's okay if the pieces kind of poke into the body like that a little bit. Her bounding volumes are a little bit small. And I'm done with the arrangement points, so I will turn them off. And now I can sew this together. I can sew in the 3D window or the 2D window. Sew your center front closed and your center back closed. Oh, this little point, there's a leftover point. You can delete this. And then I already put my sewing down, so I'm just going to adjust it so it completely hits the back neckline. And then I am safe to simulate. I'll hit spacebar. I'm going to get off my sewing tool and go to Transform Pattern. And I'm going to pull in one of the muslin fabrics that we have. So I'm going to use the first muslin that's available. I will take this and drag it and drop it over what is currently being used. Then I can close my library. Okay, so I want to build a bust dart into this bodice, and then after that I'm going to build a sleeve. So now I'm going to show you a few edits that you can do to true up and clean up your body. One of the first ones I'm going to do is select these shoulder seams. I'm going to select the back first and then the front because the back is going to move to meet the front when I use this action called match up. So for match up, both of the shoulders measure the exact same thing, so it doesn't really matter what you choose. Then it will move the pattern that you selected first to match up with the pattern you selected second. And then you can adjust any segments accordingly with these corners matched together. A really easy way to rotate this piece back upright is actually to use the matchup function again. This will only work here because I actually have a completely vertical line that I can reference. So either the side seam or the center front of your body, select the side seam here and then choose one of these vertical segments and then choose matchup to end, and this will snap back to place. Another thing I'll show you briefly is how an option called retract works. If I want to open this neckline a little bit, you can select one of the front and back segments right click and choose offset pattern outline. If you choose retract, I'm going to type in a larger measurement so you can see what it does. It will basically retract this section of the pattern following whatever shape our pattern outline has. So it'll kind of radiate inwards as it moves. 1 inch is not the distance I'm going to adjust. I'm just going to take off 1/4 all around and hit OK, and it'll open that up. Great. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a bust dart into this bodice. There are a couple pattern editing tricks that I'm going to show you how to shift your dart around. So I'm going to show you how you can pinch out certain areas before you do pattern edits to kind of figure out how much you actually need to take out of your pattern. This is using the tool called tack. Tack allows you to tack fabric to other fabric. You can think of it almost like a tailor tack as well, because you can lengthen this and it will have some give or some buoyancy if you're just kind of loosely securing two areas together. But in this case, I'm going to left click here and move around so you can see your tack moving with your cursor along the surface of the fabric. And then left click to finish that tack, dictating the area that you would like to pinch out and close. And you're going to see the initial length of that tack. As soon as I simulate, the tack is going to pinch together. If you think you've pinched too much or you would like to see this on the other side of your pattern, here are the options you can do. With the Edit Tack tool, you can move this around in both the 3D or the 2D window. This is going to show you the length of the distance before you tacked it, but it's kind of tacked to 0 here. If you select the tack in the property editor, you'll have thread length as an option. I'm not going to change it, but it's just so you can see this is where you would make the tack longer. Once I have that in a place that I'm happy with, I will right click on the tack and choose duplicate to symmetric pattern. Because these patterns are symmetrically linked, it will generate a tack directly on the other side. And then I can simulate and see how I feel about how much I'm pinching out. So I'm going to start with about a 1 3/4 inch measurement. I might bump it up to 2 inches after, but now that I'm done with these tacks, I'm going to delete them. I don't need them. I want to get my shape relaxed again. So I'm going to click on this area in my 3D window and get a general idea that this is where the dart is going to radiate from. I am about to show a version of putting in a dart or shifting a dart, which has tools that are only available in version 5.2 or after. In the following clip directly after that, I'm going to re-show putting in a dart, but with options that are available in 5.1 or below. If you want to just jump to one version or the other, you can check below in the detail for those timestamps. Okay, so locate about where you want your dart to be, and then get the Add Point Split Line tool and basically left click and put a point about where that is. If you want to keep this in even measurements, so I can see when I hover here, I'm at 4.102. So I'm going to hover right click and place this exactly 4 inches along my armhole. Next, I am going to put a 2-inch marking down from my armhole drop point. Before I get my dart into the armhole area, I'm basically going to take a chunk out of the side seam area to shift the fullness down. After I have the point on the side seam, with the Edit Pattern tool, you can right click on that point and choose Add Dart. I am going to make my total width 2 inches.